new ranking, and I'm going to add, in my view, a highly questionable ranking of presidents, is turning heads after Biden came in higher than both Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan. That aside, Abe Lincoln ranked first. Okay, fair. Then comes Obama at 7th, and Biden came in 14th, actually beating Ronald Reagan, who came in 16th, and Trump dead last.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
You can't deny the fact that Donald Trump is somebody who has consistently defrauded people, not paid his bills. I mean, this is what happened in the 2016 election when Hillary had a slew of ads about how he stiffs everyone from contractors, people who work in his buildings, et cetera. And this is the character of the man. These are huge inflations to get cushier interest rates. I mean, saying that his apartment in Trump Tower is 33,000 square feet when it's really 11,000. They're consistent lies. People don't want to vote for a felon.
He's already dead.
Happy unindicted President's Day to all that celebrate. And what better way to celebrate than by discussing the shopping list of controversies, criminal indictments and liability payments that follow the 45th president wherever he goes. Right down to the bottom of a list ranking him as the worst president of all time.
Lisa, where to begin? This is infuriating in so many ways. 154 respondents.
After an 11-week trial examining a pattern of fraudulent business practices over the course of many years, the judge in New York, as you know, ordered Trump to pay a massive $364 million in fines, as well as banning him from running a business or any legal entity in the state of New York for 3 years and from applying for loans from any New York financial institution. And with interest applied, Donald Trump, Don Jr., Eric Trump and their former executives owe $450 million.
And as to Don and I, every single witness testified we have nothing to do with this. They went in, witness after witness. This is not what they did in the company. It didn't matter to this guy. You know, we were trophies on a wall for this guy.
It's insane. I mean, it's literally, I mean, there are Democrat lawyers in New York that are calling and saying, this is crazy. This is so much worse. This is 5 times worse than we thought it would be.
So, hold on a sec. The calculator here. Sorry, I'm struggling to keep count. All right, so that is $355 million in fines for fraud, $99 million in interest on that fraud, which is increasing by the day, $3 million for E. Jean Carroll, another $5 million for E. Jean Carroll, and who knows what else when he continues to disparage her. Carry the two, divide. I think that's around $540 million in counting.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be, what that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. But it's not just me who likes to keep track and relay the egregious amount of money owed for things that nobody really denies that he did. I mean, you see the man literally yelling about how presidents should have immunity, pretty much telling on himself also.
There's no people that are complaining about getting swindled who are working for the Trump organization.
Trump's name has been ripped off all of the buildings along the West Side Highway.
Okay.
These people don't want to live in something with the man's name on it.
But a liberal voice on Fox News, Jessica Tarlov, she managed to silence her ever so chatty co-hosts for around 2 minutes as she outlined the plethora of controversies. Controversies that if merely one were attached to the name Barack Obama, then I mean, I'm not even going to speculate. You know what their response would be.
Donald Trump was convicted of this before we got today's sentencing. The judge had already found him guilty.
By just the judge.
But that is how the system works. You can change.
Not convicted.
Sorry.
Yes.
Libel of inflating assets between $812 million and $2.2 billion. And I understand on the appeals front, and it will go to appeal. He has 30 days to do it. And I think his lawyer already has, that they are going to have to, as the judge said, prove that somebody was actually wronged by this.
Good
right?
luck.
That there was, well, we'll see what happens. But you can't deny the fact that Donald Trump is somebody who has consistently defrauded people, not paid his bills. I mean, this is what happened in the 2016 election when Hillary had a slew of ads about how he stiffs everyone from contractors, people who work in his buildings, et cetera. And this is the character of the man. These are huge inflations to get cushier interest rates. I mean, saying that his apartment in Trump Tower is 33,000 square feet when it's really 11,000. Mar-a-Lago, his tax broker, said $27 million ranks it as a social club when he's running around saying it could be $1 billion. It's actually $517 million. They're consistent lies. They are trying to understand people. Just because Deutsche Bank got richer doesn't mean that it's wrong. Political implications. I happen to think, and have said this since the beginning, that no trials or convictions will matter except for things like in Georgia. And obviously that is complicated this week by what's going on with Fani Willis and election interference and the Mar-a-Lago documents. But he does better in the primary. But if you look at, and we talked about this in Iowa and New Hampshire, when you talk to voters about what's going to happen in a general election and if he is convicted of something, 32% in Iowa said they won't vote for him. Over 50% in New Hampshire said they won't vote for him. People don't want to vote for a felon. They don't want to vote for a criminal. Right now, he can coast along and say, this is about bias against me. You know, I'd never touch E.G. and Carroll, even though he owes $83 million for doing that and then defaming her. So I think it does hurt him in the end, but not in this primary. He'll be even more of a juggernaut.
And there's something so soothing about that silence, right? Not that it means they're contemplating the truth in the matter, of course not. This is the same network that put out this headline regarding a recent survey conducted by the 2024 Presidential Greatness Project, where historians and political scientists rated every US president from George Washington to Joe Biden on a scale of 0 to 100 for their overall greatness. But not to worry, I fixed the headline for them. And the results were both striking but not surprising, with Donald Trump receiving the lowest rating in history, solidifying his place, according to them, as the worst president ever. And who's going to argue?
Yeah. Do this. Donald Trump lost in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and last night. Wow.
Okay. They even placed him below James Buchanan, the man who intervened to assure the Supreme Court's majority ruling in the pro-slavery decision in the Dred Scott case. But what was more interesting, actually, is that even amongst solely Republicans in the survey, Trump knitted out at number 41 on the list of presidents out of 45. Meanwhile, of those who identified as conservatives, they ranked him 43, while those who identified as independent ranked him dead last, matching his overall rating. And if you're wondering how other hosts outside of Jessica Tarlov dealt with this survey on Fox News, well, they dealt with it exactly how you'd imagine.
A new ranking, and I'm going to add, in my view, a highly questionable ranking of presidents, is turning heads after Biden came in higher than both Donald Trump and Ronald Reagan in his wildest dreams. The survey was done by the Presidential Greatness Project, who claim to be the foremost organization of social science experts in presidential politics. They may be the foremost example of the disconnect between ivory tower academia and real people. That aside, Abe Lincoln ranked first. Okay, fair. Then comes Obama at 7th, and Biden came in 14th, actually beating Ronald Reagan, who came in 16th, and Trump dead last. Look, Lisa, where to begin? This is infuriating in so many ways. 154 respondents. They are the ivory tower elites who in no way represent the view of the American people.
No, but it also goes to show you, though, how history can be written, and some of it can be built off a lie as well. But no, this list is bogus. Everyone knows that, you know, Obama's not that high. He was a terrible president. But I think on this president, sorry, I think on this is just my thought bubbles. You don't want to know what goes on in here. It's a lot.
But surveys aside, right? What Tarlov outlined is not opinion, which is what the MAGA crowd try to assert whenever it comes to any of Trump's wrongdoing. It's what a jury decided, yet they consistently paint this man out to be a victim.
Everything that I've heard and read, even from legal scholars, said there's absolutely no case here. It's not a crime. This is not a crime. And when you look at what's going on outside of the streets, where violent crime is at an all-time high.
All across the country, what we're seeing now, according to the FBI, is a decrease in crime.
When really, in fact, if you actually listen to Meidas contributor Dina Doll, who pointed this out perfectly, he gets outlandish preferential treatment when it comes to the courts.
Trump always argues that he is receiving special treatment and being prosecuted against. But the fact is that he is given so much more latitude than a typical defendant. There is no way a criminal defendant would have been able to get the district attorney prosecuting his case on the stand to question the sharing of payments regarding personal private trips. It just wouldn't happen. Judge would have ruled based on the facts given to him in the affidavit because he had more than enough facts to decide whether a conflict occurred.
To the point that he and his gaggle of crackpot lawyers waltz out the court disparaging judges, prosecutors, even the defendants that they've just been found liable of defaming.
This is a judge that should be disbarred. This is a judge that should be out of office. This is a judge that some people say could be charged criminally for what he's doing.
You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here.
The only card they have is the victim card. Be prepared to hear it.
Donald Trump campaigned in 2015 and 2016 over doing things like this. He told everybody, I'm the guy that can fix the code because I'm the one that knows every loophole, and I've been taking advantage of them. So we all knew this was happening. To the Mar-a-Lago point, and down the street, there's this $53 million home, but it is a private home, whereas Mar-a-Lago is registered, and for good reason, because it's a club where you can go and party and you can stay as an income-producing club, which is taxed and treated differently. This also isn't the appraisal of just the county commissioner or whatever. This is what the Trump organization said it was worth. In 2020, they self-reported that it was worth $27 million. And now he's going around screaming that they're framing him. Then your own company framed you.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.